Everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Training. I hope you're having a fantastic week. As always,
we are live from Austin, Texas, right here at Insurance Syndicate headquarters. And man, we have a great show for you.
What is up? What is up, man? It is Tuesday, so that means it's 9 a.m. live right here at Insurance Syndicate headquarters. And it's time for a little Tuesday Training. Hope you guys are doing great. As always, this show is brought to you by DFY CRM. Man, I cannot tell you enough every day that I open my Facebook platform. Every day it seems like I open Facebook and I see someone posting in one of these many different Facebook groups that are out there for insurance, asking about CRMs. It's constant. I talk to agents. It seems like at least once a month, I talk to some agent that's out there producing, ain't got a CRM. There's a bunch of them you can choose from. And there's a bunch of them that are going around that are white labeled versions of Go High Level, which is one of the biggest or most popular marketing platforms out there because it allows you to do a lot of different stuff. Well, DFY is one of those platforms, and in my opinion, it's one of the best ones out there. It's why I use it. We do quite a bit with it other than just managing our leads and separating our different client bases, right? For marketing campaigns, etc. We got these types of people we want to market to. We got English people, Spanish speaking people. They're all tagged, separated in different categories. We got landing pages, funnels. It's an awesome platform, man. If you're an agent out there looking for a CRM, I cannot endorse this one enough, even if that's what they pay me to do on the show, because it is the CRM I use. So check it out, man. If you're looking for a good CRM, check it out. Other than that, we're going to jump in, kind of pick up where I left off last week. If you tuned into last week's show, you saw us, I was joined by Hunter Gordy. Hunter Gordy was the vice president, or is the vice president of United National Life, which is a product portfolio, I should say, that we prefer when we're doing a lot of cross-marketing work, whether it's hospital indemnity, home health care. They've got a great dental plan. It's an indemnity dental plan, so you can take it anywhere. They have cancer, heart, stroke products, or a cancer product. They've got everything. So excellent portfolio. I'm going to pick up from that, and I'm going to talk about the exact strategies that we do in Avila during OEP to maximize our sales, to maximize our growth, to maximize our retention, and certainly to maximize our attachment rate on secondary products, right? If you're an agent in the Medicare space, you should absolutely never be a one-hit wonder. And what I mean is, like, I only sell Medicare plans, Medicare Advantage plans, Medicare supplements, and prescription drug plans. That's your primary product line. Shouldn't be your only product line, right? And I'm not saying you have to do what my buddy Pete Fournier says, which has become a Swiss Army knife of all things insurance. Not a terrible idea, but I'm not saying you got to go that far. You should learn to be a Swiss Army knife within the Medicare space. So Medicare should be your primary product line, right? Whether it's Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplement plans. And then your secondary products, right? You should have secondary products that fit into that. You don't have to have a ton of them, and you don't have to try to sell all of them, especially if you're newer. If you're a newer agent, you're kind of newer to cross-marketing. My advice is to tell you to pick one. Pick one good product and start learning to market that product secondarily. And yes, Enrique DFY CRM is it's not the only one I use. It's the only one I use on the front end. I use it for all of my marketing stuff, right? Funnels, email lists, running, managing leads, etc., opportunities. But then once they become a client, I move them into agency block for true policy management, because I can also manage my commissions, and there's a bunch of other stuff. So I'm running two CRMs, front end and back end. But anyway, going back, like, if you're a newer agent, like, don't all of a sudden try to throw all these products into your portfolio and figure them out at once. Start with one. Let me learn how to cross-market hospital indemnity. Let me learn how to cross-market final expense properly, right? One at a time until you get good at each one. And then you can kind of shuck and jive and pick which product you think is going to fit that client's needs or opportunity immediately. So when we're doing cross-marketing, right? I've got some agents right now that are purposely cross-marketing final expense for a couple of reasons. One, I feel very confident they can do it well. I believe it's a little bit of a simpler sale to learn than, say, hospital indemnity, even though hospital indemnity and Medicare Advantage go, they go together like steak fingers and gravy. Technically, so does final expense. Like the people that are buying Medicare Advantage plans are also buying final expense life insurance. That is one of the other items they're shopping for. And if you are not offering that to your Medicare Advantage or your Medicare supplement clients, you're missing the boat, man. And when I was an agent in the field, that is how I made good money. I marketed Medicare supplement plans. We didn't have Medicare Advantage plans. That's how old I am, back when I started in the field. So I was just selling Medicare supplement plans, and then I would come right behind that and cross-market a final expense plan. That allowed me to build my renewals so that I could have some good passive income on the back end. And then it allowed me to stuff my pockets first year so that I could afford things like rent, cable, ramen, etc. But that is a great recipe for a new agent. Market Medicare, cross-market your final expense, any other product you want, but I'm going to start with final expense in this regards because, again, I believe it's easier to learn and the demand and knowledge about it is much higher than, say, a hospital indemnity product. Although cross-marketing hospital indemnity is not hard at all. And we're going to dive into all of that today for as much time as I have. Before we jump into that, there was one piece of news that came out. There was a little bit of news that I could go through, but I've got a lengthy show for you in regards to some of this training, so I don't want to go through too much news. But I felt like somehow this slipped under the radar. I haven't seen this posted in any group. Came out 4 days ago. Let me just put this on the screen for you. What I have here is from the American Hospital Association. Most of the articles I could find on this topic were all hidden behind paywalls, whether it was the Stat or New York Times or Modern Healthcare, right? They're all hidden behind paywalls, and I don't have memberships to all of those. But American Hospital Association piggybacked up on it, grabbed the article. But right here it says that CMS releases their 2026 proposed updates for Medicare Advantage Part D. Now, granted, because we're in the middle of a massive administrative change at the government level, none of this may ever come to light, right? We may see some quick turnarounds and changes, but I found this interesting and I wanted to share it with you. But right here, if you didn't see it about just a few days ago, CMS proposed a 4.3% payment increase to Medicare Advantage plans for calendar year 2026. 4.3%. Now, I don't know how much you might remember over the years of payment and funding increases to Medicare Advantage plans, right? And what some of those numbers or percentages look like. But I can tell you this, based on my experience, because I know most of them, 4.3%, number one, is a lot of money. That's about $21 billion that they're going to increase in funding to Medicare Advantage plans, assuming the proposal gets approved. That is one of the largest rate increases they've done. The largest was 8.5%. That set the record. That is more than double this one. But before they put out that 8.5% increase, I believe it was in 2021, if I remember correctly, maybe 22. He had put out a 4.3% increase, which was the highest date at that time. And here we are again with one of probably the top 3 to top 5 increase amounts in funding to Medicare Advantage plans. And what do we know when we see increases in funding to Medicare Advantage plans? Well, we know that generally means larger footprint growth, more benefits, and usually more commissions to us as agents. Every single year that there has been a payment increase to Medicare Advantage plans, we also get an increase in commissions. And we also see these other things, footprint growth, benefit growth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I don't know if that would hold true this year because of the extra pressures or extra costs to Medicare Advantage carriers from the Inflation Reduction Act, right? We've already seen some of the results of that act. It pushed Kansas City Blue out of the market completely. We saw a massive footprint reduction because of the Inflation Reduction Act and the downward pressure that it created on Medicare Advantage carriers because it required them now to pick up such a much larger share of the drug cost, as well as create caps on how much they can collect to offset their new increased expense. It also added other expenses, administrative expenses for reporting and all kinds of other stuff. So I don't know if we'll see that same type of result, assuming again that this goes through, but nonetheless, 4.3% payment increase is on the board for Medicare Advantage plans in 2026, which should again tell you that the sky is not falling in the Medicare world. It is continuing to provide abundant, massive opportunity. So for some of you that are out there going, oh my God, the sky is falling in the Medicare world, it is not. We have a massive opportunity for, I'm saying, probably another 6 to 10 years, in my opinion, and many other people I think would agree with me on that. But here we go, right? Just want to throw it out there. Boom, 4.3% payment increase. Something else they slid in here on the bottom, if you didn't notice this, in addition, out-of-pocket prescription drug costs for individuals with Medicare Part D will now be capped at $2,100 in 2026. So they're already moving that number up as well. And I feel like that's just going to be a constant over time, that every year we're probably going to see that cap go up a little bit at a time. Now, that's also assuming that the whole Inflation Reduction Act doesn't get thrown out, which is absolutely also on the table. I'm hoping they don't wipe out the whole thing. There are some good parts of the Inflation Reduction Act, but nonetheless, this is what the Biden administration is proposing on their way out. Let's give them more money, and then let's increase the cap as well. So again, don't know if we'll see any of that. I do also want to remind you, and I don't have it in front of me right now, I apologize, but remember, CMS just recently released a new final rule for 2026, or proposed final rule for 2026, that is open for comment, I believe, until January 26th. I might be a little bit off on that date. You can definitely find the article in the Insurance Syndicate group. Just search my name or search some Medicare stuff. You'll find it. I'll do my best to go locate it as well when I have some time and push it back up to the top. But that had some pretty nasty stuff in it that could certainly affect us when it comes to marketing expenses and so forth, or marketing limitations again. And it's open for your comment. If you haven't commented on it and told your state representatives like how you feel about some of these rules, like shame on you. I'm just going to say it. Shame on you. This is your profession. You should be fighting for it. And all you have to do is go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I need to write a letter in response to my congressman. Here it is. Look up your congressman. It's all public info. And then boom, bang, pow. I ran it all through my DFY CRM. Imagine that. And created a form letter that I only had to create once. And then I just dropped everybody's name into it automatically because it does that stuff for me. Spat them out, wrapped them up, mailed them. Only one senator responded to me, or congressman, but he wrote me back. It probably wasn't even him. I'm sure it was one of his little cronies, but he wrote me back and said, thank you. But I would encourage you to go and write your representatives and your congressmen and let them know how you feel in a very professional manner. You need to back it up with some evidence on why some of those proposed rules are absolute hogwash. So there you go. So moving on, I am going to, let me pull this down, and we're just going to chit chat about OEP success. Now, and yes, Sandra Gebhardt, you bring up a great point. NABEP has form letters that you can just go grab from them. Put your name on it, put your congressman's name and address on it, mail that out. So thank you for bringing that up. You don't even have to type anymore. Just go get it from NABEP. They will give you a letter. And if I can get a hold of one, I'll see if I can get it published in the syndicate group that you can use as well. But all right. So again, where are we at? If we're a Medicare agent right now, we are sitting in the middle, or the beginning, not the middle. We are sitting in the first 2 weeks of OEP, the open enrollment period. Now, as a reminder, the open enrollment period is only for use for people that are currently enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan. That's it. If you are not currently enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan, OEP does not apply to you whatsoever, period. Okay? This is only for people that are currently enrolled in Medicare Advantage plans, and we know that from January 1st to March 31st, they can make one more change and one more change only. Then what can they do? Pretty simply, they can move from one Medicare Advantage plan to another Medicare Advantage plan. Maybe they have United Healthcare and they're like, oh, turns out my doctor doesn't take United Healthcare in 2026 or 2025. Sorry. So I need to go find something that does, and maybe he finds an Aetna or Humana or Cigna plan that does, and he's going to prefer that. And you flip them, piece of cake. That is their one and done. Now they're locked in for the year. Or they can leave that Medicare Advantage plan, go back to original Medicare, maybe enroll in a Medicare supplement and then a drug plan, right? And still have great coverage. That is pretty much the only two options they have. People that have drug plans can't change their drug plan during OEP. It's bullshit. I agree. NABIP's been fighting it. If there's any specific item that should be allowed to change during OEP one time, would be your drug plan, right? Especially with the madness that's been going on in the drug world. Now, in some states, there are some overlapping special election periods running right now as well. If you're trying to use an SEP right now for some reason, you would use it based on them not having access to AEP, their most recent completed election period. And in some cases, you can use an SEP. In Texas, there is still I want to say they've extended it all the way to July. There's an SEP running that would function like AEP, where we can do anything we want. We can move someone from original Medicare into Medicare Advantage, out of Medicare Advantage back to original Medicare, or within different Medicare Advantage plans, we can change drug plans, whatever we want, assuming that SEP, or assuming, I should say, number one, that the SEP is in their county of residence, and number two, they did not exercise an election in their most recent completed election period. So for some of the folks out there that you're running into that didn't do anything during AEP, you might have some SEP options where you get a little more freedom. Other than that, you're in OEP, you have an option, boom. Now, you just finished AEP, you wrote a bunch of business, I hope, and your pocket's full of cash. Like, deposits have been coming in since January 1. We've seen people on Facebook bragging and showing off their deposits of how much money they make. Kudos, good for you. I don't think that's great for the industry. We all know it's a lucrative industry, but sitting there rubbing it in people's faces does not, I don't think that constitutes being a good steward of the industry, right? And I'm going to say it even further, because Medicare is getting tired of all the money we're making, and they're tired of us flaunting it around. So stop flaunting it. That way we can all keep making money and they don't make more changes. But anyway, for the last 55 days during AEP, you've been busting your butt building a great book of business. Maybe you're a brand new agent. You can only get about 50 apps done, but hey, that's great. Maybe you're a little more experienced. You've been in it for a few years. You got a little book of business. Maybe you wrote a couple hundred apps. Maybe you're Josh Youngs and you went out and wrote like 510 apps, right? Between new business and replacements, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. But now here you are during OEP, right? Maybe the traffic is a little slower. Maybe the phone's not ringing as much. Maybe you don't have any leads right now and you're like, what do I do? How do I go make some more money? How do I go find all those people that were super interested in AEP? Because you can advertise AEP. You can run ads all day long going, hey, it's the annual election period. Time to change your plan. Give me a call. I'll take care of you. But you can't do that during OEP. You can't run an ad that says, hey, it's the open enrollment period. Just want to remind you, if you did not do anything during AEP, or if you don't like the agent you were working with during AEP, you have one more shot to get it right. Call me. I'm here to help you. You cannot do that during OEP. We are not allowed to market using OEP language, just like we can't market using special election period language. There are some tricks around that. Something that we found that works better is generally just to do educational videos on, say, something like the Medicare Savings Program, and we can still drum up good leads during OEP. But the reason I say that is because a lot of agents will get naive and they'll be like, well, I wrote all this business during AEP, and agents aren't allowed to market during OEP or market to OEP using that type of language. So my clients are safe. And I'm Johnny Agent. Like, I'm super good. Like, people would never leave me. They would never cancel my plan and go with some other agent at some call center or someplace else. You could not be more wrong and more naive to think that way, right? Because here's how you have to put it in this perspective. During AEP, they get 55 days to make as many elections as they want, as many changes as they want. They could submit a new enrollment every single day of AEP 55 times. The very last one on December 7th that goes through and gets approved, that's the one that wins. When we come around to OEP, now we have 90 days. Technically, I believe it's about 92 days to second guess their enrollment that they made with you, right? So they get 90 days to test drive whatever they did during AEP during this period. And if they decide they don't like it for any reason, if any agent gets in their ear and points out the slightest little negative and how they can find a benefit to flip it for you, you are going to lose that business. You will get a full 100% chargeback, and the new agent will get the full commission, and he will have that client through the rest of 2025, barring any special election periods that might be granted or pop up where that person makes another switch. So it's extremely important, number one, that you do some retention work during OEP to make sure that everybody who wrote during AEP stays with you. 100% stays with you, because otherwise you're spinning your wheels. Now, the good news is, while you're running that retention effort, you can easily cross-market a secondary product, which is what I talked about when I opened this video up, right? You need two product lines. You need your primary product line, Medicare, whether it's Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, doesn't matter. And you need a secondary product line. I don't care what it is, but you need to pick one. I don't care if it's hospital indemnity. I don't care if it's cancer, heart, stroke, home health care, final expense, whatever. Ultimately, you want to have all of those. But again, as I opened earlier, if you're a brand new guy and like cross-marketing is still freaking you out, you don't know all these products, pick one. Just pick one, right? So like I've got one agent, newer guy, Gabu, that's working with me, right? Been doing tremendous. Wrote a bunch of business during AEP. He's already slaughtering it during OEP. And so I've got him focused on final expense. Let's focus on how we would cross-market final expense, right? One of my other agents is really good at hospital indemnity. She loves it. And Grace, technically my wife, she's killing it with hospital indemnity, cross-marketing that to her clients. Whatever it was, clicked in her brain, she's got it. She knows how to fit it in. She knows how to bundle it in a single conversation, and she's doing that, right? But here's what I'm going to tell you that you should be doing during OEP. And I'm going to give you the exact same verbiage for the most part that we're using. Very simple, and it ain't hard. So here's what we do. After we go write all that AEP business, right, we are going to call that client, I believe it is 6 times, if my math is correct, in the first 90 days after we enroll them. So some of this will depend on the timeline. Let's say, for example, we enroll someone on October 15th for AEP. We know that their plan doesn't go into effect till January, right? That person, we're going to talk to a little faster. I want to call them even during AEP to double check on them before we even get to the beginning of the first of the year. So, for example, if I write someone super early of AEP on, like, say, October 15th for a January 1 effective date, and I know they still get 55 days where they're getting bombarded on the phone, in email, on text, etc., I'm going to call that person about 2 to 3 weeks after I did the first enrollment and follow up and be like, hey, Betty, this is Tony. I just helped you with that Humana plan. Has Humana gotten your materials to you yet? I just want to double check and make sure you have everything you need, right? I want that follow-up call, and I want that customer service call. That's all. It's straight service call right there. Now, when I get all that information from her, she's like, yeah, I got everything from Humana. It's great. I got this here. I might go through it with her. That's your summary of benefits, right? There's a copy of your formulary. This is your card, your member card that you use. Here's all the information that's on your member card, your contact numbers, your member ID. Here's your flex card and how you use that to get OTC benefits or whatever it might be. I'm going to do a little bit of that service work with her and make her feel warm and fuzzy that she's got a great agent that takes care of her, right? And then I'm going to ask her for referrals at that point. Hey, please send me some referrals. Who do you know? Who's the first person that comes to your mind? Cool. Can you contact Julie and let her know to give me a call, because I can't just cold outreach her, right? So I'm going to say that. Like, if you know anybody else that appreciates my level of professional service, Betty, please send them my way. Something very similar to get those referrals. Now, when we get around to OEP, there's a handful of other calls that we're going to make, right? So after, let's actually go back to AEP. When we first write that app, we're going to write the app. We're going to call them 2 to 3 weeks later to make sure they got the materials as part of the welcome call, because we should have their member ID at that point. We're going to call them close to the end of AEP to double check on them one more time. Like, hey, I just want to make sure you got everything. You're good. Want to remind you this plan starts January 1st. Yada, yada, yada. Be ready to go. When January comes around, we're going to call them in January. We're going to call them in February. We're going to call them in March. We're going to call them once every 90 days or every 30 days for a total of 90 days. That's 3 more times. The reason we do that is, number one, I want to be the agent that's in front of them if they discover that there's a problem with their Medicare Advantage plan. We've already discovered some of these. Some of you that are in Texas, you're already aware of probably Baylor Scott and White that is no longer accepting certain insurance plans. Well, as of December 7th, none of that information, we all knew, like, they're still working on some of those agreements, but everything looked like it was going to work out. And then AEP was over, and Humana, for example, I'm just going to pick on Humana because they're the one, but Humana and Baylor Scott and White couldn't come to an agreement and get their contract done. So now Baylor Scott and White clinics and doctors no longer accept Humana. And we had numerous clients that were in Humana using Baylor Scott and White, really enjoyed it. People that we had signed up, etc. And then come to find out, there's a problem. So I want to call them in January, February, and March to be the person that's in front of them to find out that there is an issue. Because if some other agent calls them and he finds out there's an issue, he's going to flip it. You're going to lose your commission, get a full chargeback. And now he has that client for the rest of the year. You can't touch them because they're locked in. Pretty basic, right? You're going to sit on the sidelines with that client for a whole year, hoping you can get permission to contact them again next year and try to bring them back into the fold. So I'm going to call those clients January, February, March, and I'm going to have a very simple conversation with them every time. And this is exactly what we say. Hey, Betty, this is Tony. I helped you with your Humana plan in the annual election period. I wanted to just check on you. Have you had a chance to use your plan yet? Have you had any problems while you're using it? Excellent. Most of our clients have the exact same experience you do. However, some of our clients do experience some higher out-of-pocket cost. You probably remember when we went through your plan that there were certain gaps that I pointed out for the hospital co-payments, your skilled nursing, and even your 20% for Part B drugs. Well, I want to take a few more minutes to show you a very simple way of how I can bring those costs down to zero. Pretty simple. That is a basic hospital indemnity, right? First, it's a retention call, and then I'm flipping it to a cross-marketing call with that simple statement, right? Alternatively, this is what we're doing on final expense. Almost the exact same thing. Hey, Betty, it's Tony. I just helped you out with your United Healthcare plan during the AEP. I wanted to follow up with you. Have you had a chance to use your plan yet? Have you had any problems while you're using your plan? Excellent. Doesn't surprise me because most of my clients that are on that United Healthcare plan have the same great experience you're having. So now that we have your health insurance locked down with a really good plan, I want to talk to you real quick about life insurance. Do you already have your burial insurance in place? That's it. That's the pitch. It is not hard. It's not difficult. It ain't fancy. But these are people that already like us. They already trust us. We already have a relationship. So we don't have to come up with any weird sizzle hook pitch. All we got to do is ask them directly, straightforward, simple, right? Now, on the other hand, if I make that phone call and I say, hey, Betty, this is Tony. I helped you with the Humana plan at the end of last year. Have you had a chance to use it yet? And she says, no, I haven't. Then I might say, hey, I might ask her, do you have any upcoming doctor's appointments or needs that I might be able to help you coordinate on your plan? And I'm just going to offer some good service. And then once we get past that little bit of chit chat there, then I'm going to say, cool. So now that we know that we have your health insurance taken care of with one of our better carriers, I wanted to talk to you about life insurance. Do you already have your burial insurance in place? Or do you, if you don't like burial insurance, that's fine. Do you already have or do you have life insurance in place? Right? I like to be a little more direct because I don't want them, if I just say life insurance, right? It's not that I'm trying to hide life insurance. They know what I'm doing. But a lot of times I feel like if you just say life insurance, their brain could imagine that I'm trying to sell them much bigger than what they really need, right? If they, through discovery, I'm going to find out how much life insurance they might need. But I'm not just going to come like, hey, I just want to talk about, do you have any life insurance? Like that's a little, I want to be a little more direct. So I'm going to say, I want to talk to you real quick about life insurance. Do you already have your funeral insurance taken care of? Do you already have that in place? And for some of you younger agents that are out there, like when you're hitting this question, I know you might think like, well, that's really uncomfortable. I'm just going to ask people like, hey, you know, you're going to die. You got your funeral insurance in place? Come on, man. Right? Like that can feel uncomfortable. You need to just be matter of fact about it. Understand the audience that you're talking to. You're talking to people that are 65 to 70, maybe older years old. They have no illusions anymore. They know that death is knocking on the door for them. They have no illusions. They're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to live forever. No, they know. And they know this is probably one of the bucket list items that they've got to get done before that day comes. Right? Now, everybody's going to be different. If you're talking to a single guy that's just a single elderly man, maybe not. But if you're talking to most of them that have a family, they have beneficiaries, they have people that are counting on them, they have people that they don't want to leave that bill behind to foot it for them, right? That's the majority of them. So this is on their list of things to do as they get or later and later in their golden years. Be matter of fact, be sensitive, but be matter of fact about it. And how I said it is exactly how I ask it, and it works for me, right? It's not going to sell every time. That's fine. You never sell every person. You just sell hopefully most of them or whatever your metrics are. But that's exactly how I say it. Now that we have your health insurance locked down, or now that we have your health insurance in a really good place for the future, I want to talk to you real quick about life insurance. Do you already have your burial insurance in place? That emphasizes that it's something she has to do. It's probably been on her brain for a while, etc. Right? Fairly simple. And Mark Figler says it right. Like they can't say yes or no unless we ask, right? I mean, the responses are going to be simple. They're either going to tell you, yes, I already have it. Perfect. And then if you want to go after it and rate shop it, knock yourself out. Perfect. Do you mind if I ask like how much you're paying for that? Like, or how much did you get? Oh, I got 20,000. Oh, cool. I'm able to help people for 20 grand for only $92.80 per month. Did you get a better rate than that? And feel free to kind of rate shop it a little bit. Alternatively, they're going to say, no, that's something I need to do. I've been thinking about it. Is that something you do? A lot of times you'll get that question because they only know you as a Medicare geek because that's how you met them. That's how you introduced yourself to them. That's the initial problem that you solve. So when you call them back and you flip the script and you're like, hey, I want to talk to you about life. Now that we have your health insurance locked down, I want to talk to you about life insurance. Do you already have your burial insurance in place? And they might go, do you do that? The best response, and I don't care how new you are, the best response is, yeah, I actually do a lot of it. Most people only know us as Medicare, but this is another thing that we're well known for. And then I'm going to tell them, most of my clients, I can get covered for about whatever the number is for the product that you're selling in that age band, right? Most of our clientele that we work with are 65 years old because that's our initial target from day one. Do we take care of people that are over 65? Absolutely. We got people that are 93 years old in our book or older. But our primary target audience, we're always marketing to people that are T65. So if I know that I'm always marketing to people that are T65 as an agent, it shouldn't take me too many conversations to memorize what my best rate is for a 65-year-old man and a 65-year-old female for $10,000, $15,000, and $20,000. And I don't even have to be exact. I just got to be really close. So again, hey, Betty, this is Tony. I helped you with your Humana plan. I just wanted to check in. Have you had a chance to use it yet? Have you had any problems when using it? And the couple of reasons I asked that question also. Number one, I'm trying to, again, find out if they had problems so that I can troubleshoot them, fix them, conserve the business. But most of the time, if you did your job right during AEP, they're not going to give you bad news when you ask that question. Most of the time. They're going to say, yes, I used it. No, I haven't had any problems. It works exactly like you said. I went down to the Piggly Wiggly, filled up my prescriptions. They charged me exactly what you told me they would charge. I can't believe I'm saving so much money now that I've listened to you. You're such a genius. I love you so much. Please be my grandson. Right? They're going to give you good news. So they're going to build on your good relationship of what a phenomenal professional you are which makes the transitions easy. Perfect. Now that we've having such a phenomenal experience and you love me so much, please buy some more insurance from me. That's basically the nature of how it's going to work there, right? So most of them are going to give you good news, yet and then they might say, no, I haven't used my plan yet. And so maybe offer like, hey, do you have any upcoming visits I can help you with? But in most cases, especially when you get later and you're making this call in February or you're making this call in March, where they've had their plan for 60 to 90 days. Like when you get into that phone call with them, they've definitely used their plan by then. Maybe all they've done is get their scripts filled, but chances are they probably filled the scripts. They probably visited PCP at least once, maybe even a specialist. Who knows? Pretty simple. So when you call them, you're generally going to get good news, which is going to help tee up that cross sell. Very simple. So I'm going to say it one more time. Hey, Betty, this is Tony. I was giving you a quick buzz. I helped you with your Humana plan during the annual election period. I wanted to just check in. Have you had a chance to use your plan yet? Perfect. Did you have any problems when you used it? Great. Most of my clients have the exact same experience you do on that plan. So now that we know that we have your health insurance locked down for the future, I want to talk to you about life insurance real quick. Do you already have your burial insurance in place? And then I'm going to shut up. Don't say a word after you ask that question. Don't say a word. And they're going to give you the response you need. They're going to either say again, yes, I've already got it. Thank you very much. And they might tell you something like, yeah, I do. I didn't know you did that. Otherwise, I'd have bought it from you. Shame on you for not bringing it up. But we're pretending that we're talking to new clients here that we just wrote during AEP, and we're furthering that relationship with them. Or they're going to say, yes, I already have it. And again, if you want, you can start shopping rates with them a little bit. Or they're going to tell you, no, I don't. This has been on my mind. They might just tell you to kick rocks, but it's really unlikely. It's really unlikely that your own client that already trusts you is just going to tell you to kick rocks. They might blow you off. They might say, oh, call me back tomorrow about that. And then they quit answering your phone calls. They might do that. But most are going to say, in a lot of cases, they're going to say, yes, I've already got it knocked down, or no, I didn't know you do that, or no, do you do that? And every time they've asked me, is that something that you also do? It's like, yes, we do quite a bit of it. I know most people know us as a Medicare shop, but we do a lot of life insurance as well. Most of my clients your age, I'm able to get covered for about $52.38. Does that sound like that would be affordable for you? Oh, yes, it does. Like, perfect. Like, there's just a handful of health questions I got to ask you real quick, Miss Betty, to make sure you qualify. And then in the next question, the next statement I say is going to be one of those underwriting questions. And then I'm going to underwrite it real quick and boom. And a tool that we use that helps us with this, I don't have it in front of me, I don't think. No, I don't. One of the guys has it out there. We have a short little 1-inch binder. I think it's a 1-inch binder. And we have all of our underwriting questions for all of our products in that binder. Now, I know some of you are probably a little more sophisticated than us, and you're probably using, agent toolkits that'll underwrite for you. Not bad, right? But again, most of our group we're talking to is 65. We don't do a lot of underwriting here because a lot of the stuff we're writing is either guarantee issue in the Medicare supplement world, and sometimes even hospital indemnity because we're in that first year window. Final expense, we always have to underwrite, of course. So what we did is we just create a little underwriting guide. We flip it open. We go to the product that we're trying to pitch. We ask the health questions right there. The reason we do it that way is because that prevents the agent from having to log in to the carrier portal, get through all the what's my name, what's my date of birth, what's my county, what's my zip code, what's my effective date, all the front end yada yada before we ever get to the underwriting questions, right? It's a waste of time for the agent to get logged in on all that front end stuff and collect some of the personal info from the client that they technically already know, assuming two things. One, it is your client. Two, you have a CRM like I opened this call up with, but everything that we have is already in the CRM. So all they have to do is flip their underwriting folder open, ask the health questions. If they feel that that client is going to pass underwriting, then boom, we just jump in, we fill out the app, and boom, we're done. Piece of cake. One and done, close. Simple. And then boom. if you're writing final expense out there, any decent contract, you should be getting about 110 to 115% commission. So, I mean, think about that. If you can, for every 10 Medicare Advantage apps you write, you should be able to find 2 to 4 final expense policies out of it. Guarantee, hands down, easily, with just basic cross marketing like I'm doing, like not even being like super sizzle hook man with amazing sales vernacular. Just a very straightforward approach. Call your client. You already trust me. We love each other. I do Medicare, but I also do life insurance. Do you have yours taken care of? Like that very simple approach, the math will run for you, and you should find 2 to 4, some I'd say 3, we'll say 3 final expense policies for every 10 apps. Truthfully, it's about 1 in 4. When I was writing in the field, I was able to get about 1 out of every 4 apps. I know it's simple ask them. I deliver the Medicare supplement policy. It's like, hey, thanks. By the way, do you already have your burial insurance taken care of? And then I would have my rates, a brochure, I had everything ready to go. This is before e-apps. Like it's so much even easier now with telesales and e-apps. It's a joke. But that simple statement will net you. Let's just think about it. Let's do some math real quick if you want. Let's say, for example, you write 10 apps a month. Let's just keep some real basic math. You write 10 apps a month, and let's just keep it at, actually, we'll average them. We'll say about half of your apps are replacements and half of them are T65s, right? Which means you're making around 450 on average per app first year. So at 10 apps a month, you're making 4,500 a month. That is, that's a little less than 60,000 a year in first year commissions. It's not terrible for a first. I mean, that's not bad at all. There's a lot of agents that love to be writing that type of average first year. Now, let's say for every 10 apps, you're able to get 2 final expense apps because you follow this cross-marketing strategy, very simple, a simple one like I'm doing. Well, the average final expense premium nowadays is probably closer to $60. I'm still going to dial it back for easy math to $50. $50 a month is $600 in annual premium. Your average final expense contract is going to pay you 110%, 115%, somewhere in there, maybe 105 on some of the lower end ones. There are a couple out there that are real tight that might only pay 90 or 95. So let's just round it up and we'll just keep it in the middle of 100. So let's say you're getting 100% final expense contract. So out of you're writing 120 MA apps, and for every 10 of those, you get 2 final expense apps. So that is that's 24. It's not a lot, but that's 24. 24 times 600. What is that, like 15,000? That's about 50 something, not quite 15,000, maybe right at 15,000. So that's another 15,000 a year in first year commissions, plus or minus a few dollars, just by asking a simple question to clients that already trust you. Fairly simple, right? That is an easy way to make great money during OEP. You're going to do 2 things. One, you're going to lock down the business that you already earned by calling them January, February, March, on the 15th every month. Like we have a flood of calls that are going to go out today, tomorrow, or this week, I should say, running this retention game. We have a VA that helps us do it. We have a couple of VAs that help us do it, but also the agents in-house work on it as well. They're going to call every single client that we wrote during AEP again over this next week. It's a ton of phone calls. Hey, Ms. Jones, it's us again. We helped you with your Humana plan. Have you had a chance to use it? Have you had any problems when using it? Great. Most of my clients have the exact same experience you do. So now that we know we have you set up with great health insurance, I want to talk to you about life insurance. Do you already have your burial insurance in place? It's that simple. Hospital indemnity is the same concept, but it's that transitional statement I gave you earlier. Hey, most of my clients have the exact same experience you do. Some of my clients have experienced some higher cost when using their plan. You probably remember when I went through this plan back in November with you, I pointed out the areas that you have expenses, out-of-pocket cost, hospital, skilled nursing, etc. Well, I want to show you how you can bring those costs down to 0. Hospital indemnity. Boom. And then you present it, close it, done. The better way, in my opinion, to sell hospital indemnity is bundling it at the time of sale. but you can run it on the cross-market game as well. Pretty simple. Those are the scripts that we use, man. I'm going to bring back I don't have time. I ran out of time. I want to bring back my bundle script for you guys. I might do that next week, although I have a couple of guests that are trying to get on next week, I think. But one of the upcoming calls, I'm going to bring my bundle script back out, and we're going to look at how to bundle from a Medicare supplement world and also a Medicare Advantage world on how you can do a very simple thing. I promise you it works. Grace has figured it out. I've been teaching it in here, talking to people about it for a while. Usually when I have a client that's T65, I'm generally getting somewhere between 4 to 5 apps out of every one of them because I just bundle it all together. It's not hard. It's just language and understanding that you're the expert. They came to you for a reason. So basically what I do is I show them like, hey, this is all how Medicare works. I remind them when we're on the presentation appointment, it's time to write business. Hey, I just want to remind you, we've already gone through some of this, and then I list it out. Medicare A and B, this is your costs that you're responsible for. So this is how just having original Medicare looks. What I'm able to do, and I draw a big circle, is I'm able to take all of that and turn it into this. And then I write down my highlights of my benefits. This is what I can bring to the table. I have a no deductible plan, right? Zero deductible, $3,000 max out of pocket. It's going to cover this, this, and this. It's going to include this and that. And I explain the benefit package that I'm offering them. Pretty simple. So we'll get into that bundle script possibly next week, but sometime in the next couple, and I will bring it to you based on both Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage. That's Tuesday training for today. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, on last week, for any of you that tuned into that call with Hunter Gordy and myself on United National Life, phenomenal product. If you'd like to look at the products, I am one of the wholesalers on it. Feel free to give me a call. Not necessarily trying to sit here and recruit you, but I kind of am. Give me a buzz. I'd be happy to help you out on it, or at least get you some details. You could check it out and maybe compare it to some of the hospital indemnity and other ancillary products that you're choosing. Until then, I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Have a great one.